and welcome back to Dr. Drill's Making Motivation podcast, where it is our mission to honor interesting and authentic people and tell their stories. And in the process, we aim to inspire and inform, put smiles on faces, and a little bit of fire under the asses of the masses. Check it out, motivators. Today is friggin' Tuesday, March 19th, 2024. I've got a fierce motivator from back in the 1-6 hard days, my man, Drew Hack. And our title, as you can see it scrolling across the bottom of our screen, it's called Panning for Gold with 1-6 Hard's Drew Hack. We're going to get to some attention getters, some little friggin' show and tell in a bit, and we'll talk about attention getters. So, Drew, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you, man. Give us a little conversation piece to start right out. Where are you going this afternoon? Tell us about this special occasion. You're going to drive across the country?
Back to Pennsylvania.
What's there?
That's where I'm from, but made a Super Bowl, bought a Super Bowl block for $500 and won $35,000 off of it.
Where are you going to spend that on, man?
Gonna pay off my car and truck, paid off my kitchen remodel, and paid off half my bathroom remodel.
Fucking all this domestic stuff there. What would you spend?
Another story with that. My 6-bedroom house I gave to my daughter and took on another mortgage and bought a 5-bedroom house, a lot bigger.
Very nice, very nice. Now, what would you spend that $35,000 on if you were back in 1993, 94, back in the company area for again 1-6?
93, 94, 94, I would have been just getting married and had one kid. So family things or knowing me, we would have had a company party.
There you go. Now, what platoon were you in?
I started, when I first got to 1-6, I was in 1st platoon. And they were putting Super Squad together. And I didn't want to be part of that. So they made me go to 3rd platoon.
Okay. Cool, man. We're going to get to that. But let's tell me your Marine Corps experience. You know, this is called the Making Motivation podcast. So a big source of our motivation, my motivation, and the connection that we share is the United States Marine Corps, infantry. So what was your decision based on to join the service anyway, and in particular the Marine Corps?
You know, I'm completely different than most people. So again, just like a lot of prior people that you had on, prior guests, Tillman and all of them, when we had career day at high school, I had my long hair, but fit and all that because I already owned my fitness equipment company. That's another story. But the recruiter, you know how they do it. He came up to me, asked me what my future looked like. And I asked him if he was happy with what he was doing. And he said, yeah. And I was like, are you sure you're happy with what you're doing? And he kept saying, yeah. And I was like, you could be honest with me because what you're doing now isn't really a good thing. And after about 5-10 minutes, he finally broke down and said, no, he wasn't enjoying it. And I was like, well, you need to find something that you do enjoy. But being that you're honest with me, I need a vacation because I was working my ass off at the time. So he needed one more person to join to meet his quota. So that's why I joined.
So what do you mean when you say he wasn't doing a good thing?
Him?
Yeah.
Lying to people, telling them that he was enjoying what he was doing.
Okay, he was bullshitting.
Yeah, he wasn't happy with what he was doing. He was just meeting his quota.
And he was a Marine Corps recruiter.
Yes.
And so you said, "Hey, fuck, man, I need a little break, a little vacation. So let me check this out." And you joined.
I did need a vacation. I opened my first business at the age of 13. I opened my second business at the age of 16. My dad was one of those, he worked in the steel mill for 37 years, lost everything when they took their pensions. So I started working, I gave up sports and everything. Started my first swim team at the age of 5. Great swimmer, great diver, gave up everything to keep my family together.
Good man.
And stuff like all of these, all my ribbons and all my swimming medals.
Cool, man. What was your stroke? What was your
Freestyle for the city of Pittsburgh back when I was in middle school. The first time, well, not middle school the first time, but first record I set was a 50-yard freestyle at 23 seconds, and then backstroke, and then I went into breaststroke and butterfly. But I also did diving and all that.
That's outstanding, man. I didn't know that about you. That's
There's
cool.
that's what a lot of interesting stuff. We could do a did you know on Drew.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I like that shit. But now tell me about these businesses. So you're industrious because you had to be. You're contributing to the family, to the family income, steel mill, all that shit you said. So what were your businesses that you started at a young age?
Detailing was my first one, detailing cars, trucks, bikes, everything, automotive, because it was, I don't want to say quick, but it was easy. It was a fast turnaround for cars. On average, it was $100 a car and took 2.5 hours. And the second one was a fitness equipment company selling retail fitness equipment company to whether it was a University of Pitt or Joe Blow walking off the street buying it.
Very interesting. So you joined it. So you said, okay, I'm working my ass off. I'm freaking contributing to the bottom line for the family. Check it out. So you were married at the time, you said,
No,
before you went in.
no, I wasn't married. I got married in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
That's
So
another story too. Your older guest, Dan O'Hare,
yeah, 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 yeah.
he was on the Guam. The Guam was my first ship.
I thought I had heard that the name, the Guam, was that an LHA? Was that like a on par with like the Nassau, or was that
It was
or
a
no, that's
landing platform, landing helo platform.
okay. So a little bit, not a carrier, but
Just smaller version of it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Um,
yeah, Charlie Company 1-6. Before you got there, we were Helo Company.
okay. So the Guam.
Yes.
Isn't that freaking nuts that dude was almost 80 years old, and he's telling stories about serving on the Guam, and then however many decades later we pull up, and we're still using those ships. I remember that about the Ponce. Somebody was talking about how the Ponce, you went on that float, right? You went on.
Yeah, I was on a Ponce with you. I didn't go to Cuba or Oki or anywhere else. I left after I got out in October of '95.
Yeah,
Their story with that, why I got out though.
I want to hear about it, dude. I want to hear about it. But first, all right. So friggin', holy moly! So you join the Corps. You go to, we could tell boot camp stories for days, but you get in. Was it? Tell me about the a cursory examination of your boot camp and schooling experiences, and to the time you wound up at 1-6.
In platoon 2001, H Company, graduated 56. Story that everybody has. Our, I guess, private 2nd Battalion boot camp. We were called privates,
Yeah.
not recruits.
Okay.
Uh, Shaky Jake. Jake Thompson, every push-up he did, like when a dog gets like a shaky leg,
Yeah.
his legs would shake uncontrollably. So
Every
that,
single rep?
huh?
Every rep?
Every push-up he would do, both legs would just start shaking uncontrollably. So he got labeled Shaky Jake.
Nice. Fucking shaky
But
Jake.
like many people know me because of my size, I fend for the people that people pick on. So I took him under my wing and made sure that he graduated, didn't get dropped, and he was one of our 56 that graduated with us.
It's fucking awesome. But where's that? Let me ask you, where does that come from? That so you're like the anti-bully, or you always had a soft spot for taking care of people that
I
were,
like people fucking with people. The thing that fucked this whole world up is people.
yeah,
I mean, if we all got along, it'd be great. And it's always the people that are fucking the world up that are complaining about the world.
I agree.
I mean, and I'm not picking on any race, nationality, or creed, but if I could buy a plane ticket for one person to go back to where they came from, their people don't want them back there anyways.
Right.
I mean, granted, I'm born here, but I'm Italian and Austrian, but I've been called every name in the book, mistaken for black, Samoan, Hawaiian, everything.
Yeah.
My theory is put up or shut up.
Yeah.
If you can't beat me, most people want to join me. I've never won a fight in my life
No?
because after the main fight, what do you win? We're both losers in the long run.
That's an interesting perspective.
So I defend what's right.
Give me some examples of that, day to day, across time, you know.
Just this morning at work, I mean, I work for Ford, so I do the final when the truck's all built now. I go to work, place all these people, not my job, but place all the people that we have missing with the people that we have. And then another utility comes up and is like, do you know you have a hearing at 10 o'clock? And I'm like, no, I just was talking to the supervisor for 15 minutes, getting everything set up to work starting at 6. I start at 5:30. So then I go to the supervisor and I'm like, I got a hearing at 10 o'clock tonight. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, I mean, that's fine. And I was like, for what? He's like, well, you didn't put out one left mirror on a truck. And I was like, so I didn't put out one left mirror, but I adjusted 11 right mirrors that aren't my responsibility. So the way I look at it is I'm 10 ahead. So who didn't put out the right mirror that I had to adjust? Well, I don't know. That's not my responsibility. It sure the fuck ain't my responsibility either, but I should have let them 11 trucks go to go back around and get recycled. But I fixed them and I missed one. Was the one that I missed one of the 11 that I was fixing? Well, I don't know. So it went on, and this was, like I said, probably about 5:45. And then 10 minutes to 9, he came up and he's like, well, I canceled your hearing. I took care of it. I was like, you didn't have to take care of it because I wanted to go downstairs to figure all this out. Because we have cameras right in front of the trucks that we're doing. I do roll test and all that, checking all the electronics, setting the dynamics, which is dyno testing. and everything so the truck could get out the door. I was like, I wanted to get all this straightened out because I'm tired of, I mean, hooking the keys together, getting the metal stuck in my hand and all that. And I was like, but you're a supervisor, you get paid more than me. Well, technically you get paid more than me. You don't bring home more than me because the way I work. But from now on, when we're missing people, you could do your job and I'll just do my one job. He's like, well, what's that mean? I was like, well, the 6 people that I got for you and replaced for you, you could figure that all out. Well, I don't know this person, I don't know that person. Sucks to be a supervisor. Great to be Drew, but sucks to be a supervisor. But from now on, you can do your job, I'll do my job.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
You got to take a stand sometimes, man.
It's that, but it's my theory is if we could just keep everything moving as a whole, then we all go home and we could all enjoy our home life. When I walk through the turnstiles at work, that's where home life stops because I'm at work. And when I walk back through the turnstiles, that's where work life stops and home life begins again.
That's
So
good,
it's
man.
sort of just like the military. We're a band of brothers, now sisters. We're family there, but we have family outside. And I mean, granted, like with us, other people, we brought other people home to our real family. It's the same thing like at Ford. I mean, we have, what do we have now? 8,300 people that work there. So we have a city within the city.
Wow. That's freaking cool. It's interesting. I imagine what that must be like, talking to somebody that does something like that. Um, it's always interesting to talk to people with different occupations. Um, so cool, man. So for again, standing up for the little guy, standing up for yourself, doing the right thing. Very
I'll stand up.
noble.
It's not just stand up for the little guy. I stand up for like everybody. I just, like I said, if we all go home, I don't want to make it sound rude. I don't give a fuck what you do at home. Just don't be a pedophile, stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
I'll fight for you. Just go home and be positive, be a help to the community or something.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like when I was in the military, I try to stay to myself, but that's also the problem because too many people stay to themselves and don't have the tick, let's just say bluntly, the balls to step up for other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially, I read this book a while back, or the beginning of it anyway. It's called The Madness of Crowds. And it talks about how people, one of the facets of it was like how people just kind of like, they hide inside the numbers and they wonder who's going to look around and say, who's going to solve this problem? And then it's fucking you, man. Like you got to do something. You can't wait for somebody else to do shit. You have to speak up. You have to, try to make a difference because a lot of people, they like to blend in.
Well, see, and I'm that person that blends in, but I fix stuff. I'm a problem solver, especially numbers, but I put the credit on somebody else so they don't come back to me. I'm the I'm the quiet problem solver from behind. I don't want credit for it because I don't want more people looking at me.
Yeah.
I asked so many times why I'm not a supervisor because I don't have a problem telling people off. And if a supervisor tells they're called BOCs, bodies on chassis. I'm a utility, a backup coordinator or team leader. I could tell people off of my own kind. I could tell a supervisor off, but a supervisor can't tell me off.
Right.
So I can't be a supervisor because I have zero filter on my.
You'd probably be a great supervisor, man. It's just that the powers that be, right? They don't want to. They're like, who's that guy with the fucking middle finger on his shirt? Here comes Hack. He's gonna fucking watch out, man.
This is my work shirts too. I
Is it?
have 150 shirts that say different stuff for different people at work,
Yeah.
and I pick and choose what I wear. But usually, if I'm not wearing one a day later for someone stupid the day before, I usually pick one and I get it right for someone that day in my area.
Yeah, yeah. It applies to somebody. Right. All right. So we freaking get to you get to 1-6. What was that like? So you get out, you join the Corps, you're looking for a vacation. Was it the vacation that you were hoping?
Yes.
Tell me why. What was enjoyable, relaxing, exciting?
Remember how I said that I'm unlike everybody else?
Yeah. Like
Everybody
that.
in life wants everything to happen and be great. I look for, I don't want to say the negative things, but if you expect the positive your whole life, you're going to be let down. If you expect the run of the mill things in life, life will be good. If you expect not the worst, but if you expect just under the run of the mill, and that always happens in life for the most part, you're never let down because you're always expecting it.
Yeah, you're not gonna bitch and moan. Oh, that's one of the things, and I'm just thinking about the weather, right? It never having experienced some of the things that we did, training in the friggin' dirt and in the muck and in the old conditions, patrolling at night and all that stuff. The things when people complain about the inclement weather, like I want it to be sunny too, man, but you got to suck it up. You can't let something so small like that, you know, twist you up, fuck with you, because if the small shit bothers you, then what's a big shit gonna do? You're so fucking weak if you don't have,
Exactly.
you know.
Here's my theory on that. We live, you know, how granted there's some people that have to live in a bubble. We
Yeah,
live we live on a bubble, not in the bubble.
explain.
So it's always going to change. Just like this morning down here, Kansas City, Missouri. I live in Independence, President Truman, his house, his library, and that's not that far away from my house. But it was 23 degrees. At 4:30 today, they're predicting 73 degrees. So how the hell do I dress? If I
Yeah,
sit here and worry about wearing shorts this afternoon and pants and a coat this morning, a third of my day is already gone.
right, right. Such a small thing to preoccupy such a large quantity of your worry, your concern, your logistics. So
Not
I call it being comfortable where others are uncomfortable. It pays to be.
exactly.
Yeah,
And my thing is, I taught my kids, my grandchildren come from my daughters. Thank God my son don't have kids, but I taught them how to take care of their children, my grandchildren, so I shouldn't have to worry about my grandchildren because I taught my children how to do it.
right, right.
Just passing it on.
That's the way to.
But getting to 1-6, your buddy that was you hanging out up the Jersey Shore and all that. Unlike you, Charlie Company, when I got there, Alpha and Bravo had the barracks. Charlie Company was the only one that had squad base.
Oh,
So, no, the main drag when you went down past A Street, the movie theater, you made the right and all that.
yeah,
If you kept going straight to the water, there was two barracks to your right, and there the last thing was a squad base.
yeah.
That's where I went to the
Right on
squad.
the New River,
I
down by
guess it
the
was.
whatever
I
the
don't.
by headquarters. I remember we used to run formation shit down there. It was like some of the
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's old core shit, man. That's so that was an experience, yes.
That's where I started. The last one closest to the water, that was first platoon. They were U-shape, well, H-shape basically. But the last one closest to the water, bottom floor was first platoon. Top floor was second platoon. The middle was your duty, your
Duty hut.
little entrance. Closer up to the barracks, bottom floor was third platoon. Top floor was weapons platoon. Above your little duty hut, that was where we had our rec room and all that.
Yeah. That's an entire different style. Of course, we all came from that in recruit training and schools and stuff, so we're familiar with squad bay life. But to get to your job and to be living in a squad bay, that's pretty fucking gritty, because you're hoping things kind of calm down a little bit. Now you're like, all right,
And you hope they kind of get better, but you get to 1-6 and you're still sharing a fucking head with other people. Sucks.
yeah. So who was would I recognize some of the leadership, the names that because you were probably there for a year then, a couple years before we got there. You came with Watson and those guys?
Yeah, I got the 1-6. I mean, yeah, everybody knows Kramer.
Yeah. Hey, third platoon.
Yeah.
That
fucking
him?
Copenhagen phone out of his lip.
Hey, where's Hack at? Yeah. Remember him?
That was my style and his style was completely different because he's book smart. Don't get me wrong, ain't a book in the fucking world that he hasn't read about the military. But situation dictates. I ain't walking through water up to my neck to get to the objective when there's dry land 5 foot away.
Right.
Unlike Kramer at the time, even when I got out, there was a lot of things. Again, Kramer's book smart, advanced up the ranks quicker than me. Just like you talked about some of your schooling. I was the only one in our company at the time that went through SARE school. Here's another did you know? Charlie Company had 2 assault swimmers. Do you know who they were? They were both there when you were there.
2 assault swimmers. Well, since given your swimming background, I'm thinking that you're one of them.
Yeah, and the other one you know, but you wouldn't believe.
Give me a hint. What platoon?
Third platoon.
Third platoon. No, I don't know.
Ray.
Okay. Little dark green guy.
Yeah. Little rapper DJ.
Flat top.
Yeah, the rapper DJ guy drove the white Toyota Camry.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we were building up to go to CAX off Verona Loop, me and him had to set up a rope bridge for all the other fucks to get across because of people like Kramer and all that going through the water instead of going around.
Mm-hmm.
So me and him are swimming across to set up the rope bridge. Jens got lucky because Jens took our rope bridge that we made for Jens, right? We were swimming with the alligators that were there.
I remember a lot of that. There was a lot of emphasis on making those hasty rope bridges. I remember doing some classes on that shit. We all had to have that skill set. So
yeah, because of all the alligators and do not disturb and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to swim with them.
Oh Jesus!
You didn't have to go above them.
Yeah, I remember that. It was like this way you'd wrap a thing on it, and you kind of like would create you tension the rope with this method.
Yep.
That I forgot all about that, man. So how the hell did you get to SEER school? Yeah, that is one of my gripes. I feel like, I mean, just I went to a few schools, squad leader school, close combat school, and I think that might have been it. Maybe Sarge, maybe NCO course or something like that. But um, how the hell did you get a quota for SEER school?
Part of it was because of the way I am when they asked about super squad. I don't rely on other people. So I said, come to me when it's more individual because don't get me wrong. I know everybody talks about the Marine Corps history. I know the Marine Corps history, but I don't want to be drilled on it like we were in boot camp.
Right.
And being in Super Squad, I'm sure it would have been great, but it's just something else I had to put on my uniform and a line and for other people to inspect. And
Right.
again, I'm not the person to stand up in front to represent everybody else. I'll stand behind and make us all look good, but I don't want credit for anything.
Hmm.
So, and I didn't want to be around Kramer,
Hmm.
like Ramsey and Sellers and all them from First Platoon. They're a super squad. They're outstanding Marines.
Yeah.
They're great people. It's just not me. I don't want to be in the forefront.
It
I
was.
can take care of shit from behind.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that. It seemed like it was um, they did one towards the end of my time in service, and I know a bunch of guys from second platoon that did it. Seemed like it was a lot, but it was one of those opportunities that we were aware of. But so what was SEER school like?
Great.
Really?
Met a lot of great people. I mean, it was hard. It breaks you down more than boot camp, but it shows you a lot of propaganda stuff you don't realize, and makes you think. I can't say makes you do a double take because it makes you think over and over again about the same things. Because you could look at something you could be looking at 1,000 times a day. Now you're gonna look at 1,500 times, but now you're like your cell phone example. You look at your cell phone or you look at your computer, and now you're like, are they actually watching me on this?
Right.
Are they using this? Stuff like that. Big one that get us information and like for taps and all that, or reveille after breakfast and all that. They put us in formation and they'd have the American flag up there. So, you have people saluting the flag and that. But double sewn on the American flag, the back of the flag was another country's flag. So then 50 foot behind that was a camera. So we're all saluting the American flag, but what does the camera see?
Right.
And then what do they show everybody else? All of us saluting the per se communist flag.
Interesting.
For
Yeah.
all we was the American flag.
Wow.
Stuff like that.
So they fuck with you. Man, I wonder. That must have been an awesome experience. But I imagine what they would do that in that school now with all the all the digital shit, and all the technological advancement. I'm sure they have even more crazy ways to mess with people.
See that, and like everyone you talk with that you have on your podcast, we were so lucky for not having, I mean, granted, it's great for you and great for us now, cell phones and everything. But you got to think we were so lucky not to have them
Yeah, we were.
because just like you talked about with everybody, like air raids and all that, where we weren't allowed to go anywhere, they couldn't track us. If we
Right.
had cell phones, they're the government, they had a way to track us.
Oh, big time. You
So,
imagine, you imagine what it must be like now. There's got to be freaking page 11's going out friggin' by the, you know, by the dozen
well,
with
that just like in our side now, as far as the general public side, our jail system is full. What are the brigs and everything like now, being that they have an easier way to track everybody in the military?
yeah, no
I mean,
shit.
I was a I was a cross country chaser when I was in the military too.
Hmm.
And now, I mean, going to that little school or class or whatever you want to call it, and never being used, like when we had to go do our time per se, we just went there and sat and shot pool and stuff like that.
Right.
They probably actually have to work nowadays.
I bet you're right, dude. Bet you're fucking right. Um, so 1-6. So what kind of? So you said you were on the Guam. So was that? Tell me about the deployments. What were some of the highlights of your time with 1-6 deploying? Cool ports, shit like that. Training.
Training I spent on the Guam, uh, I spent a lot of time in the gym. The Guam, we sort of got screwed because we hit, I think, 100 and I think it was 114 or 120 days at sea without hitting port.
Wow.
I think it was at, I forget what number day, may have been 100 or may have been 85 or something. You get 2 cans of beer because you haven't been hit port, so you had to drink them in the hangar.
Right.
But I consider myself the smartest entrepreneur without a college degree because I gave up going to college.
Not too late.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
So, being Marines at sea, you could sell your 2 cans of beer for $100.
Did you?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Who bought them?
I like alcohol. I have a stock bar in my house. I have 600 bottles of bourbon in my house.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
That again, that's another story. Alcohol isn't that bad for you. I am diabetic, but you know, the sugar gets taken out because of the fermentation and all that. It's a
Right.
lot better than whiskey's a lot better than beer.
Yeah.
Uh, I do drink Yingling, go Pennsylvania, right down the street from you.
Hell yeah. Hey, what do you think about freaking Russell Wilson going to Pittsburgh?
It was the smartest move. I mean, it was a smart move for one. They are paying him less than they paid Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett got an attitude after he said that he was cool with it. Uh, the other part of that is his backup quarterback now,
Who's that?
Fields from Chicago.
Yes, 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 yes.
So we went from 3 quarterbacks, now we're down to 2, but they're both first round draft picks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can't complain. For you, Kelsey, great guy. Sorry to see him go.
Hmm.
You'll hear his name forever for Philly.
Oh, hell yeah.
We still have Travis out here. Not a Swifty, but Travis is a good player.
Yeah.
But Jason, I give so much credit for.
Yeah. He's,
Jason, not saying because I'm older, but Jason, what he did with Travis is sort of like what I do with people.
trying to cultivate their strengths and
Well, that and Travis getting hooked on marijuana in college, and Jason let him stay in his dorm and mentored him to keep him on the football team and talk to the coach and all that to get him to stay there. And now look at him now.
yeah.
But I mean, the story's out there, but Jason ain't looking for any credit from it. It
No,
was
no.
just taking care of his brother.
Yeah, he's an outstanding human being, it seems. So yeah, best of luck to him. So that was just a little aside. And I know you're a Pittsburgh guy, so I wanted to fucking all right. So you're on the Guam. They're giving 2 beers when after 120 days. You pull into some cool ports. Um, any crazy stories about ports or favorite ports?
Nah, I mean, we hit Trieste, Italy. Everybody goes out and does their thing. I go see family.
You went to see family there.
Yeah, I take a train ride 2 hours to Venice. Go to the actual Venice, Italy. If you're standing in front of St. Marco's Cathedral, if you look to the left, there's two glass factories or two glass companies divided by a canal. They're it's called Urbanics. That's my grandparents' glass factories.
Outstanding, man. Great to
So we
connect.
go, a couple of us go there and hang out, have a good family dinner and all that, and then take a train ride back to Trias and see all the other drunk Marines coming back. And there's like 3 or 4 of us that are fat and happy.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
I mean,
Uh,
don't get me wrong. I did my partying and all that. Like I said, I did a lot more fighting than I should have. But again, I've never won a fight. But that's just how it is. But a lot of times on Livo, I just went off with a couple people and just like you seen the swimming medals and all that and panning for gold, I go off on my own. Um, I don't want to say I'm above anybody because we're all human and we're just everybody's equal. We just have different interests.
hmm
ADHD. I used to love concerts. I just hate crowds now. So I don't want to be. I like being to the side of everybody.
Yeah. You know where does that the root of that come from? I think I think that's a great thing, following the crowd rather than, the mission of this podcast is to talk to and hear the stories of authentic people, So you're definitely a genuine human being. You're an interesting guy, and I respect that, people being real, as opposed to following the crowds and just doing what everybody else does. So it's interesting to hear that. But where does that, to the best of your estimation, where does that come from? Your tendency to feel that way and act that way. Um, is
Oh,
there?
family. My dad, my great grandparents. My mom, well, my dad's side came. My dad's Austrian. which is another thing. I mean, I've been to. Everybody knows me as Hack. My last name is actually Von Hack.
Yeah, I remember that. Now you tell me that. Andrew Von Hack.
It's actually, if you want to be, we'll go full on so everybody knows it's Andrew Joseph Von Hack, two saints and a Von Hack.
Nice, man.
But Von Hack is farmers or jewelry makers, watchmakers. There's a place in Austria, right outside of Salzburg, Austria. It's Von Hack's. It's still in existence today. It's been in existence for 100 and I think 60 some years. My, I think 4 time over, 5 time over grandparents, but there's still a Von Hack watchmakers.
Very neat.
The Von Hacks from Pennsylvania. They owned 25,000 acres and right outside of Pittsburgh. It's Robinson Township in Crafton. They were farmers, but not getting the political again, but the South called them slaves. The Northern, we called them employees. Everybody lived on the farm, went to school on the farm. It was a self-sustained farm. Everybody worked and lived happily. We have, I think there's still 3 cemeteries up there. We have our private cemetery, 3 regular big cemeteries where anybody could be buried, 5 funeral homes. More of did you know?
It's cool shit, man. I love it. Okay, so
Here's a real quick. Here's another did you know? So my three past grandfather on my dad's side is a Von Hack. He married my 3 over grandmother. Guess what her last name was? Hack, not Von Hack.
Okay.
Hence why I could go by Von Hack or Hack.
Yeah, I like it. Very cool. So Marine Corps. So you alluded to something earlier. So you serve. There's some overlap with guys coming and going. So my unit gets there 2 years into your enlistment. You went on the pump with us to the Mediterranean, and so then you get out. You get back.
Well, before you got there,
yeah.
I mean, we did CAX together.
Yeah.
1-6. Well, I know Charlie Company did. Well, we went up to Dan Neck, Virginia for one, which was outstanding. But we also went down to Carousel.
That's a Caribbean nation.
Yeah, and we trained down there for a month. I think it was a month, but that was interesting.
Yeah, sounds nice.
But everybody goes down to Carousel for rest and relaxation. The old military base on Carousel, which ain't a military base anymore, like I said, hence old military base, is actually a brothel.
Oh, geez, that works out well for 1-6.
Yeah.
If like a functional brothel.
Yeah, I mean the old barracks. If you pay your money, you go in there and have your fun, and then you walk out, and they have bars and all that, and then when you're done, you actually walk out the gates and go back into the regular area with all the tourists.
Ah, interesting. That's cool. So what kind of trains you guys do down there?
More boats and all that. That's why when we came back, like before you got there, we thought we were going to be boats, but we became Amtrak's.
Zodiacs or the Rigid Raiders or uh
Both.
okay. So
They
like
have different.
interdict, what do they call it? Like riverine operations, shit like that.
We were coming in like off the coastline and all that, and then we are going up the rivers and all that. So like river patrolling. It was different, but it was fun. It was fun because it was stuff that we didn't do and didn't get to do. But the reason I brought that up is because it was one of those things that I thought everybody should get to do. And even like if you were attached to boat, like boat company, they didn't even do what we got to do down there.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. We I guess maybe on the work up to Okinawa, I remember doing some Rigid Raider stuff, and we were attached to the boat. They had some of the big gunship boats and shit. We rode around those, and then but more often we did like the kind of like the little Rigid Raiders. I forget how many guys, how many Marines per boat, but it was definitely cool, man. Definitely a lot. I'd rather do that shit than riding around Amtrak's all the time. Fucking Amtrak's.
I actually liked it. I mean, I didn't mind the Amtrak's just because, again, not being morbid, but I mean, granted, you could pay for a metal coffin or a aluminum casket or whatever. But if you're serving your country, what better way to die than in a fucking how many thousand-pound casket?
It seemed like that could be possible on some occasions, splashing out into the Atlantic or wherever the fuck we were.
Did you, did you know that twice when we were disembarking from the Ponce that two tracks got caught in the wake for the ship?
I remember that. I think
And you know how you get the track uncaught from the wake of the ship?
no.
You got to run it over with another track because then it pushes the track down underneath the gate and it'll release it from the wake.
So what was it? Hung up on the gate?
Well, no, from the gate being down in the water, when the track drops off of it, the wake pulls it back under,
Ooh.
but there's like a 30-foot backwash. So it's not actually hung up on the gate, but it's just the water that's getting pulled back towards the propeller,
Mm-hmm.
the wake zone,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll just sit there and bob up and down underwater. And you can see the front of the track bobbing up and down. And if it stays there, it fills up with water, and then it'll actually sink. That's why you'll hear them call the emergency, and then instead of the next track going straight out that way, they got to shift it over to run the front of it over to push it down before it gets filled with water to keep the buoyancy, and then it shoots up like 40 foot behind the ship. But that happened twice while we were on the Ponce.
Oh Lord, I do remember something like that. And there was always that lore, the legend about I guess there's two ways to run a throttle on an Amtrak. There's like a hand throttle and a foot throttle, and some guy went off and you're supposed to use a foot throttle, but then he used a hand throttle and it went splashed and he drove the some reason drove the fucking Amtrak to the bottom of the ocean or something like that.
And drove it down started driving it down before they got it switched over.
Oof. Yeah, it just seemed like obviously in any of those transportation methods, whether it's a helicopter or a boat or an Amtrak, obviously shit could go awry, but there's no getting out of that, right? You're
Well,
all
see,
there.
that's just like everybody. when we were Helo Company with fast roping and spy rigging, everybody was happy that we were Helo Company at that time and not Trax. But nobody mentions that November 4th of 92, when we were on the Guam, we had the helicopter hit the side of the Guam and we lost 5 Marines that night. Nobody wants to mention when we were on Camp Lejeune, it wasn't our unit at the time, but they were spy rigging and they got caught in an air pocket, and the last 2 spy riggers at the end of the line actually hit a dumpster and died. So a lot of people, and I'm not saying you in general, but a lot of people say, oh, I'd rather have been Helo or rather been boat than Trax. Everything, there's something that happens.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I understand, like with you, we were tracked at the time, but we had bad things happen when we were Helo Company too.
Oh yeah, man. I guess I'd probably rather do tracks and Helo. And we did a bunch of Helo ops too, but obviously that could be a little bit less forgiving. A lot of the times on the tracks we were on land, you know.
Yeah.
But I
mean,
think
on the tracks, you got to think also when it was cold as hell out, at least we had some heat in the back of them and they let us get warm. On the Helo, when they dropped us off and they were due to pick us up 2.5, 3 days later, it didn't matter if it was raining, snowing, 120 degrees out. We had to deal with whatever until the Helo came back. We didn't have the option to go back on the Helo to stay dry or warm up.
no shit. It's true.
Don't get me wrong, the tracks, we were called crunchies because if they ran us over, that's all we did was crunch.
I also had heard about, some of the skin, the armor that I guess they had ability to armor up or whatever, but I believe that would be pierceable by 7.62, definitely 50 cal, so not
Yeah,
much.
well, they had the different grades to put on it. When we were training, it was just per se light armored, but when they're fully loaded, I mean, they could still be pierced. They're just a lot heavier and a lot slower.
Right.
And part of the reason on knowing a lot about the tracks as far as myself is because I am the way I am and I read up on everything. But when I was in high school, when I was doing orientation in high school, I met a kid, same age. Well, I called him my brother, but he was born April 3rd. I'm born April 4th. We were supposed to go in on a buddy system. Don't ask me why. But he didn't make weight that morning because we were working out real big at my place of business. And then he went home and drank water and was overweight on water. But he came out 2 weeks later for boot camp, but he was with the Abram unit. But before he went to the Abram unit, he was with Amtrax. So he was one that taught me a lot about the different armored for the tracks and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they were interesting, man. They're like we live to tell about it. So,
But I'll tell you what, I'd love to have one nowadays because I'd never have road rage.
fucking good shit. So I want to switch gears a little bit, bud, because I know you got your friggin' trip you're going to be taking there, and I appreciate.
You're good. You know me. I
Yeah.
love the road.
Yeah. Interesting story about Andrew Von Hack here is that when we do our Marine Corps birthday celebrations in Philadelphia, as we did for a few years, he'll drive nonstop all the way from Kansas City, 1,000 miles. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it's 1,023, something like that.
1,000 miles, and then roll right up. Give us little updates as he comes in. But a couple years he Hack came in, graced us with his presence. We had a great time. So
The year before that, though,
hell yeah,
for Wilkerson.
yes, that was awesome. Yep, honoring Wilkerson and checking on East Step as well. That was good. I want to do more shit like that. One of the cool things I think about is doing this podcast, and I'm just going to start with all Marines because that place of strength for all of us. It's helpful to reconnect, but I mean, there's already been a shitload of guys that I haven't talked to in a long time. They're like, oh, I saw that one with Hack, and that was great. Man, talking about the Amtraks or telling a story about Curious or whatever it was, and so I think it really riles up the boys and reconnects everybody. So if God forbid anybody ever needed help or just somebody to talk to, this is a conduit to doing that. So I'm very pleased to be doing this. So let's talk. Let's switch. Go ahead.
And for you, a levee going off a dam.
A levee.
Yes. It's just
Oh yeah. Chevy to the levee. The Chevy
yes.
that my
It's
man friggin' Dan O'Hara. Yeah.
down here. It's just a dirt wall built as a retention for the river for when it overflows. Built probably 30 yards back on either one side or both sides. Sort of like in LA, the movie Grease, how they had the big concrete ones.
Yeah.
Out here, it's just the dirt ones. They're still here.
So
Until
it's so rode the took the Chevy to the levee till the levee was dry. So is that fucking is that about, so is it a place where then people would go hang out? You just described people would go hang out on the levee, just overlooking the water, partying, hanging out, shit like that?
yeah, there's different places, but I mean, there's certain places people still do that. There's homeless people that live by there. The city kicks them out because of it's a floodplain basically. Olathe isn't that far away from me. Interesting for you, Kansas City. We have the only National World War One museum out here.
Okay, that's interesting. Very
But
cool.
there is a lot of interesting stuff out here. I mean, we have Jesse James' original farmhouse out here. There's a lot of history out here. Just like you're talking about traveling the country, I've traveled the world before the Marine Corps, and then like Shannon and we started traveling the country more to do interesting things. I traveled the country. I know the country like the back of my hand, but we started traveling Missouri, doing more interesting things in Missouri
Yeah,
besides going to Branson. I went to Branson 13 times in 1 year. It gets very boring.
I've never been, but it sounds like a tourist trap.
It is, but there's a lot of things right outside of Branson that people bypass every time because, like Dolly Parton Stampedes in Branson, Yakov Smirnoff's comedy clubs in Branson. There's a lot of good things in Branson. I take my kids down there every Christmas where they got the Polar Express train ride,
Hmm.
which is great. I like it. I went there without my kids, with sorry, grandkids, but there's a lot of interesting things right outside of it too that we started exploring, and just even like around here, Jesse James' original farmhouse is like 25 miles away from my house now.
Yeah.
So I encourage you to travel the country. Look before you start traveling the country, as far as for you, There is so much interesting stuff in Pennsylvania. I've done
Yes.
Pennsylvania a lot because I'm from there.
Yeah.
There's a lot in Pennsylvania, just like Kentucky is bourbon capital of the world. Bourbon has a big history in Pittsburgh before it actually got to Kentucky.
Yeah.
All the immigrants came from Germany and all that, settled in Pittsburgh first. Jim Beam settled in Pennsylvania before he went to Kentucky.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll hit you up about some shit places I go. I was just on the phone this morning. In October, I have a like a 5 day hiking trip out to Zion National Park. So I've been meaning to do that. I want to see those Red Rock Canyons, and I want to see all the national parks and Pennsylvania too. I've never even been to the Grand Canyon of Pennsylvania, but everybody really speaks highly about that area. Um, and so yeah, I agree. There's a lot. You think you got to go far to see something spectacular, but there's a lot of cool shit within your midst that you overlook. So, but yeah, so I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to do that. Speaking of your of travels and adventures and shit you guys go on, the the ticker that's moving across the bottom of the screen, panning for gold with Drew Hack. I have a little attention getter here. So this is this vial contains a bunch of gold that Drew had panned and otherwise extracted from different mines. And in fact, he likes it so much that he will sift through bags of pay dirt with a frickin' tweezers. And he's going to tell us a little bit about his gold rush phenomenon with Drew Hack. So what are we looking at here, bro?
Different nuggets and all that.
That's friggin' awesome, man. And so, and you earlier before we went live, you were talking about the quantity that you've personally extracted. What?
Uh, Altogether, probably, I don't know, 4.5, 5 ounces. So if it's 5 ounces, you're looking at what, 10, about $10,400. Where's my camera?
There you go. That's friggin' fierce. So that's an actual nugget. Is that unrefined? Like you didn't melt that down or anything like that? You just
Found it as is.
and you so different. Tell us about the places you go and the different extraction methods that you've used and why you, other than the obvious, like it's pretty freaking cool historically, and that I love that there's things out there that we can still look for in a time in 2024 when it seems like every rock has been overturned. Look at that. So this is a piece of rock with some shiny shit in it. So how would you take them out? You're hitting that with a pick or small tools or something?
Well, this is from a mine, but this came off of I actually have part of it over there, like a 200-pound rock, but then we cut it and polished it. This is actually a paperweight for my wife's desk.
Cool.
Stupid shit. But panning, if it's an area, you just dig up dirt, put it in your pan, and sift through it, knock out all the big stuff, get down to your black sand and your finer stuff. Gold's the heaviest particle, so it'll be the last thing in the pan. Mining, you'll go in, you always hear them talk about the vein, but you'll see different colors. I don't I don't have the big rock to show you here, but you'll see different colors. But one color you'll always see is a purple. And then there's different chemicals you could spray on it, but you'll see the black specks in here. but all the black specks are actually gold.
Really?
Yeah,
Why does it
but
appear like that?
because this one was sprayed with a different chemical. The they sprayed some of the times they spray with different chemicals to see the purity, because you can find iron ore and all that, and you'll find like your fool's gold. Well, the fool's gold won't turn black,
Ah,
and this is out of the mill where they do the crush and run. So they'll crush it, and then they'll actually put a sulfur cyanide solution on it, where it turns it black, but being it attaches to the gold and makes it heavier, so then it'll all sink to the bottom. So then all your waste product will stay up top and get what's the word?
it'll deposit out.
Well, the gold will deposit out the bottom, but they could the the belts.
Oh yeah. So I'm imagining you say a crushing machine. I'm imagining that the crushing machine is doing its shit, and then it's going to take all the different grades or whatever. It's going to set it onto a belt, and it's going to go through some sort of washing thing.
Yeah. Well, you got your washing decks and all that, like you see on Gold Rush.
Yeah.
It's just like that, but this is like the mine, Cripple Creek in Colorado, which is one of the biggest mines in the U.S., which I've been there. I've watched them do their blasting and all that. Some of their mines out there are they're big mine trucks that'll carry 70 ton. I mean, there are holes out there that they look like Tonka trucks, but they're actually as big as our houses.
Wow.
But then they find like old shafts from the old the old miners and all that. But it's just interesting. I mean, it's if you want to say the Marine Corps is, I mean, like the Marine Corps is part of our culture. So is gold rush. I mean, so is gold panning, gold mining, bourbon. I say
Yeah.
bourbon, not whiskey, because bourbon is the American spirits. It gives
Yeah.
you a kind of idea of myself.
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
talked about earlier, I have 600 different bottles of bourbon.
And what's your favorite?
I haven't met one that I don't like.
Really?
I mean, don't get me wrong, I have some bottles that cost $1,500. I have bottles that cost $20. There's different flavors for all of them. What's my favorite bottle? That's funny you should ask. Okay, so real quick, let me grab a couple bottles. 9/11, right?
Yeah.
Who was the first Americans in Afghanistan?
The first Americans.
Yeah, the first soldiers.
Um, I would assume there's some sort of spec ops guys, right?
Well, the horse soldiers.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
They opened their own company. Here's horse soldier bourbon, right? Okay.
Nice.
Well, I met all of them,
Wow.
so I actually have mine signed.
Very cool. So
So,
what?
but you asked me about my favorite bottle, right? I can't say tasting it, but my favorite bottle. The youngest Marine that died in Afghanistan at the airport. Remember 13 Marines that died?
Yeah.
The youngest Marine's from St. Louis. So I had to drive to get his bottle of bourbon. So I'm still paying dedication to us.
Very nice. So where
So
who made that? Somebody made that in honor of him?
yeah,
Awesome. This is with the withdrawal from
yeah,
Afghanistan.
yes.
Awesome, man.
When I don't want to say we were cowards, but we pulled out and we shouldn't have pulled out.
Hold that
We,
up again, bro.
huh?
Hold that up again.
Well, that's him in service, but he was the youngest one of the group, and he's from St. Louis.
Good. Awesome.
But so yeah, that's my favorite bottle.
Appropriately so.
But again, me being different and me honoring the military, the old Jim Beam decanter bottles,
Hmm.
they made one for us. Did you know that?
No. Nice. Friggin'
It even
chesty.
says, it even says USMC up there. But
Yeah.
unlike most people, the Marines will go find it. Okay.
Right.
Mine's still unopened.
Nice.
So, hear it?
It's still full.
Yeah, I have 500 some Jim Beam decanters. I have a whole decanter room over there, but like 300 some of them are still full. That's another one of my collections.
So there's a lot of alcohol, man. Like how much when I look at something like that, like I've had whiskey and bourbon and scotch and all that stuff, and I don't know. Uh, I know that you had described a trip that you took down to Kentucky and saw all those different um, manufacturing places. Sounded very special. But how much of this stuff can you? I mean, it's sipping, right?
Yeah, I mean, most of mine, I mean, all bourbon you could sip. Some bourbon is better for mixing, whether it's old fashioned. Some bourbon, like, there's four different horse soldier. The stronger ones, some people like with a little bit of water because it's too strong. It all depends on personal preference. And not that I'm an alcoholic, I just appreciate American culture.
That's what I mean. I think that that's interesting. I just wonder how it's best enjoyed. Um,
If you talk to people from Kentucky, it's supposed to be enjoyed straight. But if you talk to, I don't want to say real people, if you talk to, I can't say real people, but my theory on it is enjoy it however you enjoy it, but enjoy it responsibly.
yeah,
I mean, you could go out and anybody could go out and get trashed on a $20 bottle of Jim Beam or Evan Williams bottled and bonded. It's $18. It's 100 proof.
hmm
You could get trashed on that. You could get trashed on a 23-year-old bottle of Pappy Van Winkle. One's 18 or one's $18. One's what is Pappy Van Winkle? You're looking at even a 10-year secondhand market. You're looking at $1,500.
mm,
It's a lower proof, but I mean, to get trash, you're not enjoying it.
right.
I
Yeah,
mean, there's so much, it's so complex. The flavors and everything is different. I mean, you get and I'm not saying this because I chew Copenhagen and all that, but you could get like a tobacco, like a cigar flavor in one, a deep fruit, a deep apple in another, a caramel or dark chocolate in another. It all depends on what you like and what you're looking for.
Yeah, it's it.
So,
It's interesting. The culinary aspect of things like that, like to see, like as you're describing, you can imagine how the craftsmanship that goes into producing something like that, one of those varieties over another, and then the heritage and all that stuff. It's pretty interesting. I agree. I find it very interesting of all the things you're talking about. The gold mining thing, man. When some of the stories you were telling me about that, and you gave me these little pieces. It's an honor. I got these in my drawer, and I'm like, man, I'm going to pull these out so that I can do a little show and tell. But I'd love to go out. It's right up my alley, man. I would love to go out there and friggin' pan for gold. You're outside and friggin' using big tools, and then I'm on a creek and I friggin' sifting through this stuff. You even said you do a friggin' then they send you. You can buy bags of
yeah, you could buy pay dirt and have them send it to you and do it at home. My house that I gave my daughter, if you go in the backyard, around the house, different spots in the backyard or even in the front yard, that's where I dumped all my other, like the pay dirt that I already went through. But I'm sure I missed stuff, so my other house is probably the only house in Independence that has gold in the front and backyard over there.
here bags of dirt from Colorado or the Kodiak, where the fuck Klondike.
I bought bags from everywhere, different countries and all that, just because I couldn't make it out to Colorado and I was bored. And I mean, that's just like, say, people get bored and, oh, I'm gonna go have a drink of bourbon, or I'm gonna go to the bar and have a beer because I'm bored. There's no football on. I'm bored. I'm gonna go dig through some of my pay dirt and find, like I said, there's some more. Oh, sorry. There's some more gold. Uh,
Given your heritage with the jewelry making, oh, nice.
there's some more. There's some more. If you even look down, I can't. There's rocks, and go below the rocks. There's still actually gold pieces in there, falling out at you, but there's gold
Nice.
in there.
Very
And
cool.
it's one of those things I always have it around. Not that I do it daily or weekly, but I always have it somewhere in case I get bored. So I can do it. Just like my decanter collection, which you can't see where I'm sitting is my bar, which is, people say they have a bar in their house and it's about the size of this bar, which is 4.5 foot or whatever. I have a bar that's, I don't know, this whole thing is like 30 foot by 15 foot. On the other side of it is a movie theater. Freezers and refrigerators are back there. There's another bar back there with my Jack Daniels section. But right behind where you can't see is antique lunch boxes and a whole Kiss display, all the Kiss dolls and all that. I just,
That's awesome, man. It sounds like a real life, a modern day friggin' Ton Tavern.
sort of, here, I'll just turn this real quick for you.
Yeah.
So you see it?
Oh wow, you were messing around talking about the lunch boxes. You have a Happy Days there one? Yeah.
I don't know. I got Barbies too.
Nice.
This Barbie right here was bought for $28 in 2000, and it's worth $2,500 right now.
Damn, brother.
There's Mickey's. There's more decanters that are full. But
Trains.
yeah, some of my stuff. Or now that I'm up, remember how I told you I have a decanter room?
Yeah.
Let me turn this light on. So, I don't know if you could see what you could see.
Wow.
But there's some.
Wow, dude. You
Oh,
got
we don't. And here's my military section behind glass.
wow, brother.
And then here's another section. Sort of like a museum.
It really is. Very impressive.
There's a couple more thousands. And I do have a military one in here. See, the Marine Corps.
Where is it at?
Oh, right there.
Oh, nice. Semper Fidelis. Beautiful.
My daughter bought me that one, but there's some cars up here, fire trucks and all that. All these ones up here are full.
With
Another whole display over here. These ones go back 3 deep. But yeah, so people say they have a couple of decanters. I have a couple hundred decanters.
you
That's
really
another
do.
section. And
Very interesting.
here's another section of them. But like I said, out of the 500 that are in here, like 300 are full.
Full of booze.
Yeah, it's still full of bourbon. Then, like I said, here's part of my movie theater section over here. I don't know what you're seeing, but
Yeah. Nice setup.
that's a part of my downstairs.
That's awesome, man.
But I just get into something and do what I want. I have fun now.
Yeah. I mean, I was I always admire people who collect things, you know what I mean? Like oh, there you go. Wait, is this the infamous motorcycle with the
Oh my, yeah, that's my green chopper. There's my red one. Then I do have my regular Harley.
outstanding, brother. Yeah, there was some features on that. Wasn't there like a gas? Was there like a kickstand with a fucking flipping the
Yeah,
bird or something like that?
yeah, but it's underneath the other motorcycle because I've moved in here, so it's full, but it's down there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. What is it? The kickstand? It's got like a middle finger, like a skeletal middle finger.
Yeah, it's a kickstand from the forearm, basically from the elbow down, but it's given the middle finger. But yeah, I just get into stuff and I don't want to say I take it too far, but I take it to the Drew level. You know,
Yeah.
I had just Drew. I just like it. And then like my bar, I'm probably the only one that has a bar, and everywhere you look around my bar. I like guns, but I like swords better. So
Cool.
I have all kind of swords around my bar, and then my motorcycle, the Dragon. Hold on, I gotta pick this one metal back up. The Dragon. There's a Dragon sword back behind my one bar. But like I said, you have let me see what. There's more of the bar. Can you
Hmm.
see that?
Yeah.
Then there's all the big bottles behind the glass.
Wow.
But there's another bar back there too.
Oof. It's like a
Yeah,
fucking museum. You're not kidding, bro.
I do have Marine Corps stuff.
Yeah, that's nice.
And what you can't see is every time we went to Cookies,
Yeah.
all their signs. Remember all their signs they had?
Oh yeah.
I have them here.
How? Did you commandeer them? Did you
Huh?
You bought them or you commandeered them?
I know I asked for them.
Okay.
Like
Oh, nice. Big banner, yeah.
this one.
They gave it to you.
Yeah, if you ask for them, they give them to you. Cookie paid for them all, so they
That's
were going to throw them away afterwards. So every year
awesome.
I've been there, their signs are down here now.
That's special, dude. I like the way you collect a little something from everywhere you go there. That you I don't know if you saw Grant that I interviewed the other day. He
Brick.
had a brick. Yeah.
And I got one thing. I'm sort of like Tillman. Like Tillman said, the air. Stone brought this point up thanks to your podcast. Hey Stone, fuck you, because your 1/6 glass that you promised me in Philadelphia at the birthday, I still never fucking got. And I know you didn't fucking send it, so fuck you.
He's gonna get it. He'll get it to you. We'll get you one.
But just like Stone, how he said he stole glasses from around the world.
Yeah.
I got all kind of stolen glasses from around the world.
Well, it's good to, like, again, to keep your eyes peeled, and commandeer a little piece of something, a little memento, if you will, from everywhere you go. So, fortunately,
Here, one more thing about my decanters, because it's no longer there, but it's close to you. A lot of people don't know. They even made a decanter for Tun Tavern.
oh, that's friggin' badass. So you can pour booze out of that, out of the chimney?
Yep.
Wow, dude. That's awesome. Where'd you get that? Online? So shit all online?
This one came from, I think this one came from California. The whiskey that was in it was out of California, but I found this one that was empty because I wanted the cork intact. Because if they're full and they get turned upside down or sideways, if whiskey gets on the cork, it starts to eat the cork away. So I had to find one. I've only found 3 or 4 of them so far, and I don't know, 7 years that I've been collecting decanters for like 7 years, and I've got hundreds of them.
I think it's great, man.
Do stuff seriously when I do it.
Yeah, I like your style, man. I like your style. Fucking cool, man. Well, let's wind this down. I've enjoyed my time. Go ahead.
Okay, so winding this down. Another did you know? I was due to re-enlist.
Yes.
I had all my stuff done before I got out. Tillman and yourself brought up a name. A first sergeant's name. Do you remember the name?
First Sergeant Baines?
No.
Or First Sergeant. What's that?
Mesner.
Yeah. Menzer. Yeah.
Fuck him.
Yeah. He was kind of a Peter.
He's the one that changed my military career and changed my life. So, Shannon was pregnant with our son, Corey. Corey was born June 28th, Onslow Memorial. Was born with respiratory distress and pneumonia. Got transferred to Wilmington. So every day, well, when he got transferred to Wilmington, Shannon nor myself got to hold Corey. My mom was there, my mom and dad. My mom got to hold Corey. He went from pink, whatever color you want to say, normal, to blue. So they took him. Like I said, Shannon didn't get to hold him. I didn't get to hold him. The next morning, they transferred him to Wilmington. So me being me, trying to work everything out, I went to base. Shannon checked herself out because if Corey was leaving the hospital, she was leaving the hospital. I went to base. First Sergeant Mesner was there. I asked for more time off. Me and him got in a little kerfuffle. We'll say that word, okay? First Sergeant Mesner said him nor the Marine Corps gave a fuck about my family. If the Marine Corps wanted me to have a family, they would have issued it to me. Hence, fuck you, Kramer, because that's what you always said. If the Marine Corps wanted you to have something, they'd give it to you. But so I leaned into him closer and I asked him to repeat it. He repeated it. Remember our chaplain, little I think Scottish like guy from Allentown, Pennsylvania?
Was he a major? When we were on float, there was this guy who's a major. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
little salty salt and pepper hair guy.
Yeah.
Well, he happened to be walking by Mesner's office, but I leaned into Mesner after he said it the first time, and I told Mesner if by chance with this stupidity that was being said, if my son would happen to die, that he would be joining him soon. Mesner stepped back from me and repeated louder, myself nor the Marine Corps give a fuck about your family. The door swung open, the chaplain came in, said, Corporal Hack, take as much time off as you need. Mesner, come with me. I took, I think, 7-8 days off because I went down to Wilmington. Ramsey was watching my daughter, Ramsey and Renwick. Great crew. Oh, Renwick was the great part. Ramsey and Jennifer was normal, except for letting her eat fucking dog food.
I remember Renwick too, yeah.
Yeah, Renwick and Sellers up Ohio doing corrections. Ramsey moved back to Pennsylvania to the farm, and then his parents passed away. His dad. He's doing good though. He does a lot of military stuff for like hunting and all that, big game hunting.
Mm-hmm.
But so I came back, never seen Mesner again. Don't know, don't care what happened to him, but to this day, I still owe him one. But when it came, then they called me in to sign my papers for reenlistment. Thinking back to Mesner. I just signed my re-enlistment papers, fuck the Marine Corps, and walked away.
So you didn't sign them?
Not with my name. I just signed them with fuck the Marine Corps.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a bummer, man, because when you think of somebody, I mean, well, look, you are where you are today, and you're a husband and a father and grandfather, and you're doing quite well. So everything happens for a reason. Um, but there are so many people. I always say that I met some of the best people in my life in the service and some of the worst. And examples like you're describing are the worst, you know. So it's a shame that one individual, 10%er there, would have said and done something so callous, so insensitive around while your child is, you know, is healing up, and mom and all that, or healing up from giving birth and all that stuff. And um, that's fucking terrible leadership, obviously. So good for you. I don't blame you. I probably would have felt the same way. But the Marine Corps, that's one of the things I think most guys most people who join the service tend to do an enlistment, you know what I mean? But you just start to feel, I was describing it with some of the other guys, that maybe a year prior to a year into my 3 years into my 4-year enlistment, that I start to feel like, wow, there could potentially be a future here. Like I might consider re-enlisting. And then you're doing a risk versus benefit analysis, and you're like, weighing it, I'm looking around, I see guys who are fucking 10 years in, broken down, or broken marriages, passed over for promotion. It's a great organization, but there's some people and there's some aspects of it that are not conducive to our growth physically and mentally. And so
I got meritoriously promoted in boot camp. I went in as nobody, didn't use recruiter's assistant, got nobody to join. Got meritoriously promoted in boot camp because of my mom sending care packages. I got meritoriously promoted in SOI along with meritorious mass. I got meritorious lance corporal. Then I picked up corporal on my own. Then I was due to get sergeant, and that's when I gave up on the military because of Mesner.
yeah, he was a kind of a Peter, man, and I don't think his first sergeants go. I don't remember him having too much respect. People having too much respect for him. I think he might have been an air winger. Not that makes him a bad guy, but he definitely did not have to my knowledge, he was not a grunt. We had a couple first sergeants like that. We had some good ones too.
Yeah.
But I remember somebody mentioned that in CAX, Mesner was the guy who they were just outlawing hazing, and
Yeah.
he said, "Okay, Charlie Company, you guys this is going to be the last time you guys ever do it." And everybody
We got him
on the Humvee, got him on the Humvee, pink bellied him. But yeah, but I don't know.
And that's why I told you about my sleeping bag and my poncho and all that.
Yeah.
Because I already returned, I signed all my stuff over to supply and already had all my stuff reissued to me. But all my original stuff. So, show and tell for you real quick.
Yeah.
I have all my stuff. I have my full pack.
Nice. Friggin' Alice packs, Deuce gear.
My gas mask.
Nice.
I have my dew scare.
Jesus Christ.
My little brain bucket.
Some mementos. You are a collector, after all.
I have my bayonet. The only thing I don't have that was issued to me was my original M16.
There you go. That would have got you in trouble, probably.
But I
So,
do have pieces of the actual bolt.
the bolt?
Yeah.
Nice.
And I just kept counting my drop pieces. And like the firing pin I have, the couple different little pieces.
Yeah.
I have that.
Very nice.
Still have rounds that I've taken in the ammo cans,
Oh, yeah.
still in boxes that I've got.
Right.
But I figure we earned it.
Yeah.
We paid for it initially because, I mean, granted, owning businesses, I pay federal taxes. I was just getting my money back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's a thing, FYI. Last year in federal taxes, what they took out of me, just out of me in general, is $5,000 less than what my youngest daughter made all year.
Wow. Why are they hitting you so hard?
I have no, because I guess I make so much. And with Ford profit sharing, they take 37% out of my profit sharing.
Okay.
But just got profit sharing this month. But what I paid federal tax for the year, the 3 months so far, they took out more in federal tax out of my profit sharing than what I paid in federal tax for the 3 months so far this year.
Mm.
So I'm like, I pay almost $20,000 a year federal tax. I think I deserve something back.
Hell to the yes. Let me ask you this, Drew. If you were a young man today, and would you join the Marine Corps?
Yes.
Okay.
Well. Let me rephrase that. The way the Marine Corps is now, or the way it was when I was a young man.
I don't know if I know it's constantly changing. I know old Corps. You hear all kinds of shit. I mean, I remember when I was in boot camp. Right after that, we heard, oh, they implemented these stress cards, and now if you having a hard time, you can issue like a get out of jail free card, and the drill instructors have to leave you alone, or jungle boot colors and weaponry that used and stuff. So I don't know.
Or here, let me put it this way. If I was me now, yes. I mean, either way I look at it, I would have to say yes, just because you or I can't fix stupidity. What better way to, granted, we could do the best job with our kids or the youth of today, but we could only show them so much. Now, granted, you have idiot politicians that never did anything, is the final say so, but they still ain't going to get the discipline. It's either military or jail. I'd rather have them go to the military than go to jail.
What, a young man today?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there are aspects of it, some of the things you're describing, the experiences that we've had. I mean, I have a son who's 16, and he reminds me a lot of myself at that age. And on the one hand, I really would love for him to have a similar experience, exposure to different people, and have to function inside of the unit, the type of that we're familiar with.
I mean, if like say your son, maybe not the Marine Corps because of you being there. What about like the Air Force where they get catered? Now I say this because my friend Dan, who great guy, he did 23 years in the Air Force. And after 23, well, it was like 20 years into the Air Force, they came up and said, "Do you know that you're blind in your left eye?" And he was in charge of the flight wing in Florida. They transferred him to be in charge of the fire department in Texas.
Right.
How do you do 20 years in the Air Force and in charge? First, he started working again, going off of your friend. He was up Upper Peninsula working on nuclear missiles, and then became in charge of the flight wing in Florida. But how do you do all that and you're blind in your left eye?
Serious. And they don't know about it. They didn't screen you for it correctly or whatever.
Well, here, just like you were talking about earlier on your other ones, me, for example, okay? They're so worried about underneath our fingernails and checking our nuts and checking our ass. I joined the military. I already had left and right knee surgery, and I'm flat-footed.
Yeah, they missed that shit, huh?
And I made sure everybody in the hump around me made it. I carried more shit on my back. I carried people on my back to make sure they made it,
Yeah.
But hopefully they check better nowadays.
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. I don't know if they can afford to. It sounds like, from what I've read.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm saying is just they're so worried about checking our fingernails and checking our nuts and our ass. I mean, granted, the don't ask, don't tell, but I don't ask. Was it don't ask or let me look at your ass? I don't understand.
No shit, brother. No shit.
But yeah, there was a lot of things that were messed up because granted, I'm 50 now. I haven't had knee surgery in a while, but I had 5 knee surgeries, but 2 of them were before the military.
Yeah.
I got out of the military, went right back to playing football, and just like Tillman, well, I went a little bit farther than Tillman. And like I said about before, I had a scholarship for football, blew out my knee, then they switched it to swimming, but I didn't want to go to college for swimming. I didn't really like school as far as academics.
Right.
So granted, I was a great swimmer, but I'm not going to sit in class just so I could swim. I could swim anywhere.
Right.
Now I try to stay away from water just because I don't know what's in the water.
Right.
Now, listening to your podcast with your New Jersey aquifers.
Right? Hey, bro. You hear me talk about, I don't know if I mentioned it. I think I mentioned to my one buddy that I grew up with there. The Pine Barrens, yeah. The fucking gigantic aquifer underneath the Pine Barrens National Preserve.
Yeah, well, you mentioned that one, and you mentioned one other podcast about it. But Independence, Missouri, okay? Where I live.
Yeah.
Look it up. And what is it? In the country, we have the 5th best water, public drinking water. In the world, we have the 7th best drinking water. Because we have like 120-foot deep natural aquifers.
Yeah.
Through rock and sand and all that.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. I mean, I grew up, in the Pine Barrens, and I knew there was a special place and all that, but I never knew that there's this tremendous, aquifer there that's one of the biggest in the country. I'm sure a lot of people didn't realize it, but it makes it all that more important to protect it.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
saying that, but you think about it now, we look back, and I'm not saying it's funny because it's actually kind of sad. All the things we take for granted that now we look back and respect.
Yeah. It takes growing up. It takes living you learn sort of shit, priorities. And that's the thing, man. I'm 50 years old myself. With my kids growing up and stuff like that, they're right on the cusp of adulthood, within a few years. And I'm remembering, talking to you guys, and I'm remembering, when we were boys, basically, coming up together, living in squad bays and slugging it out and relying on one another, and then all the things that we've done, and the good, the bad, and all the shit that we've learned from. So I get a tremendous amount of benefit just talking to people like yourself and bouncing back and forth stories and ideas and cool shit like that. That's one thing that it becomes more and more apparent every day. Like at midlife, you start really pondering all that shit. You look back and like, whoa, you know, this is the way things were. I remember when we were kids and our parents or our elders would always be like, oh, well, this is what we used to have to do. And now we are the old heads looking back and trying to make sense of all the change in the world and trying to pass lessons along and all that shit. So it's time well spent doing this and talking to you, man. Um, well, listen, brother, I love you, and I appreciate the time that you've devoted to this conversation, and I will treasure these friggin' my little gold pieces here, nuggets, if you will, until I get out there. I'm gonna friggin' pan gold, and maybe we could even put something together where you could show me the ropes. But
You don't have to come out here. The actual gold rush started in Georgia and North Carolina, so you're closer than you think.
so like Western North Carolina, the mountains.
Yes,
Cool.
Northwest.
That
But
was beautiful when we went down to see our brothers there, and we went over the Blue Ridge or wherever the fuck that was, in that area, huh?
yeah, you got a Reed's Gold Mine in North Carolina. That was founded back in I forget what year, 1880. The gold rush out west was 86, then it was 84 up there, but I think it was 87, 85. But guy in North Carolina was using a big nugget as a doorstop, didn't know what it was. Then someone pawned it off him, turned out to be, I think it was like a 19-pound gold nugget.
Damn. Maybe
You know,
I'll get a book. Is there a book that you would recommend on the gold rush? Maybe I'll look something like that.
not an actual book. I just take tidbits from here and there. I'm computer illiterate, but I just go on my phone,
Yeah.
type in gold rush, and then it'll start telling you about the West. But then type in like original gold rush, it tells you about Georgia and North Carolina.
Yeah. So there's still active process mines and shit there.
Yeah, Reed's is open from April till I believe it's October yearly.
Okay.
They get daily tours, and then you could mine, and you could actually mine in all that pan there too.
That's good shit, dude. It sounds like a great friggin' experience. I got to give it a shot. So cool. All right, my brother. Well, you got some ground to cover. You got to freaking get in your POV and head on out to Pennsylvania. Claim your 35K.
I'll be driving up there later today. I'm taking all my grandchildren with me.
Outstanding. How many you got there? So lay out the family.
Sadie's driving with her 3 kids, and then I'm taking my oldest daughter, her 2 kids, but she's staying home. She's pregnant, due next month. So I got 5. I'll have 6 next month. I got my 3 kids, but I'm just collecting grandkids. Yeah.
It's good, man. It's time
Yeah.
well spent. So
Son don't have any kids, so my chapter of the Hack family as of now stops with my son, because all my grandkids, their last name will be different.
yeah. Well, we'll see. Still got some time. How old is he?
29.
Yeah, he's still fairly young.
I don't see him having kids. If he has kids, it'll be a while.
Yeah. So okay, we'll have a safe trip.
I want to tell Air, Pimento, and Kenny, sorry, but that was a Kramer thing when I PT'd you when you came back from Libo on float, and I PT'd you till you puked. Kramer told me I had to handle it that way.
Hopefully they see this and remember that, and they won't hold it against you, man.
And Grant, what he told you was right, because I did the chow hall, the mess duty, but I also cleaned the staff NCO berthing and pressed their uniforms. So I made the staff NCO pay me for that. Plus I got paid for cleaning their berthing area. Plus I pressed other camis and all that for everybody else and got paid off of that.
You
But
did that?
that was
You
on the
did?
Guam, not on the Ponce.
Okay, it sounded like a pretty cool duty. Yeah.
And you probably know, but the Guam, Shannon's half brother was on there. So that's how I met Shannon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You went home on Libo with
No,
or
we were both, me and him both had mess duty at the same time, and I guess she had enough semen writing her, so I started writing her as a real man. And April 22nd next month, that'll be 30 years that we were married.
Oh wow, that's great, dude. I've had the honor to meet her. She's great too, man. She's
Like I said, everybody, it's a joke, but yeah, that's my secretary. If she wasn't around, I'd be dead already.
yeah, same, man. Same. Every pot's got a lid, so that's good. I'm glad. Congratulations on your 30th anniversary, brother. So, and Semper Fi, we will we'll talk about revisiting the Philly thing or some sort of get together. That'd be nice. It's been a few years, so COVID cooties and all that shit behind us. Let's see if we can.
Cookie still does exist. What happened was the son passed away,
Okay.
so they renamed the bar after him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they still do the normal thing. It's just a new name, but they still have the same thing every year.
Oh, that's good to know. There was some I had some conflicting information on that, so that's good to know. We'll stay close to it. Before we know it, it'll be. I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but because we got spring popping here, reckon. But
We still got to get together for Red for his family.
yes, yes. God rest his soul. So, all right, my brother, Semper fucking Fi. I love you. I appreciate you spending this time with me, and let's do it again soon.
I will do it again anytime. Like I said, I'm a giver.
You got a lot to say. I love it.
It's
Leave
a
it.
lot of fun.
Do me a favor. Leave your friggin' phone plugged in and hooked up to Wi-Fi for the next hour if you got if you can, just so because it's going to upload all of our shit on both your side and my side, and then I'll post it and I'll tag Shannon.
Oh, that's fine. It's always plugged in and it's always on Wi-Fi. And as far as anybody else, if they're in Kansas City, any of our people,
Yeah,
I always have extra bedrooms. Give me
yeah,
a call. I don't do Facebook, so go through Shannon.
yeah.
Go through yourself.
Absolutely.
You didn't ask me.
What?
Who motivates me?
Yeah, good job, brother. You're helping me out. Yeah. So, who motivates you? What motivates you? What drives you? What keeps you going, man?
What motivates me is you,
How so?
people like you. What drives me? Shannon and my grandchildren. What keeps me going? Not letting people down.
It's freaking good answers, man. You thought about those. Um,
Well, it's not even that I thought about those. I mean, people like you, because I'm not tech savvy, I don't want to be, because there was like 10 years in my life that I wouldn't even let people take pictures of me. I hated my picture being taken. I just don't, I'm not like that. So I depend on people like you. Shannon, like I already just said, if it wasn't for her, I'd have been dead already. When my mom passed away, that was really hard, but my mom was a saint. My dad was a determining drive factor. So I mean, everybody has God, but everybody has parents, but not everybody's parents has one that drives them and one that's a saint. I mean, my mom was going legally blind when she passed away and still donated her eyes so somebody else could see. I don't know
wow,
how that works, but it worked.
outstanding, man.
So yeah, I mean, but people like you that keep us together because
Yeah,
people like me don't want to. I mean, I want to keep us together, but I'm more of a face-to-face person.
yeah,
But and it's funny because being that I'm from Pennsylvania and all of our people are from the East Coast for the most part, and now I live in Mid-America. I'm out of the loop,
yeah,
but I drive everywhere,
yeah.
so
You do.
I run into people everywhere that I know. But it's just so funny because they're like, "Do you have Facebook?" I have a face, and my face is hardly ever in a book, so no, I don't have Facebook. But I'm like, "Do you have my phone number?" Yeah. So why didn't you call? Oh, that's so old fashioned.
Yeah,
I'm 50 years old. I'm old fashioned too.
yeah. Well, I think it's important, man. Like I said, it's this is very special times we're talking about. It's our history, and so to revisit it and to reconnect with some of the guys, it's powerful shit. I think I've already spoken to a few guys who I think that this really was a big, was very helpful too, just to talk about it and get their point of view. And I honestly want to hear what everybody's got to say and what their experience was. And I've it's jogged my memory. People have brought up things, you brought up things that I forgot about, and so it helps to plug in those missing pieces. And again, it was looking back, it was a powerful time in our lives, and we grew a lot, and it was part of what makes us us. And so we should be in the loop as to who's got what going on, or how we might be able to help somebody, or even just a friend, somebody that you haven't spoken to a long time, but you remember, you bonded with. That's another thing. Friends, the friendship that we had back in the Corps is a different type of friendship because we went through so much together, and we didn't have our family. Um, that we had to rely on one another, and so we became very close. And so I don't there's not a, that doesn't really exist as much, in my opinion, out in the civilian sector. Like there are certain places you can get that bond, but uh,
Exactly.
nothing like this. Nothing like who was it said maybe it was Beck. He said if he got guys, people he grew up with in his area, his hometown, that if they were going to get on here and talk, he hasn't seen them in years. If they were going to get on here and talk about, back in the day, it would last 10 minutes. We have a lot. We've got a lot of history, a concentrated period of time where we all experience the same shit. and have different points of view. So it's worthwhile. And I every one of these, like I'm off today, but this is time well spent. It's therapeutic. So I really
Yeah,
thank you for your time.
that's just like with that. I mean, I appreciate you with your time off. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't give up their time off.
I love
And
this.
like for me, just like with us trying to figure out a time, I my time is my time, so I'm available anytime if I'm not at work.
Yeah,
Granted, I have a messed up work schedule and I do work a lot, but I work a lot, and I don't want to use the word play as in play like we did in the military when we were off of work, you know what I mean?
yeah,
But I work hard so I could play hard, because how many people, when I found out about Wilkerson, could just up and leave and drive 16 hours to be there the next day, you know? I was the one sleeping in my car that morning because I worked a double, drove 16 hours to be there, and then stayed up all weekend, you know?
yeah,
I'm the one who drives to Philly at a drop of a dime. I drove to Red's funeral. I don't have a problem. Anybody needs me, I'm there. And the only reason I drive is because I could stop anywhere I want. A plane, I got to rent a car while I'm there, do whatever,
yeah.
stop wherever I want, and add to my wonderful collections.
Yeah, man. What's along the way? What's along the ride? I'm going
Exactly.
out. Yeah, that's cool, man. I like that about you. It's like you're on a journey. So
That's the problem with today's society. We're so, I got to get there to do this. If I blink, I'm going to miss something. Don't be afraid to miss something. You could go back to it.
right.
I mean, everybody's like, I got to do this. We're in such a rush. We got to start learning to relax a little. Here's the thing for you. You're not a political person, right? Because you're sort of like me. But if next year's election, right? Presidential election. You got Democrat, Republican, Independent, blah blah blah. But say I don't care who, Democrat or Republican, wins. If a Democrat is the president or a Republican, they get to pick their own vice president, right? It hasn't worked really. So shouldn't we try, if a Democrat's a Republic, if the Democrat's president, why can't we make a Republican vice president? If them two can't work it out, why the hell should they expect us to work anything out?
No, I mean, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, my brother. And I'm aware of politics, but it disgusts me. And I think it's kind of the joke's on us. So I don't fall for the old banana in the tailpipe. I don't pick my favorite, or I mean, it's getting to the point where, I mean, I hold my right to vote very dear, but it's getting to the point where I'm wondering if it's even, you
If it's
know,
worth
if it's worth it, because you're saying what you're saying is true. I often thought like there should be two candidates, one from each of the major parties, maybe even three if you want to throw the independent in there, make it a tiebreaker, and all those motherfuckers, because it's not very realistic to these days to think that one, or to expect one person's going to be this huge playmaker, and they're gonna, if he or she gets elected, they're going to solve all of our problems. Yeah, they've demonstrated that even when they go full party, red or blue, that they still don't get half the shit done, and then the other party just hates on them, and it divides us. And I'm not into being divided, man. I love people, And I welcome talking to people. Like, I don't agree. There's probably some things that you and I wouldn't agree on, but I mean, I would love to. I'm open to learning about things that I don't fucking know about, or a
See,
perspective.
here's what I like I said about my mom. My mom's biggest thing when I was growing up was say what you mean, but mean what you say. And if people followed that, if you're fighting for this, but as soon as you get elected, oh, well, I got here because of this, but now I don't really care about it, then get the hell out. Just like all these people, like I said before, oh, this is wrong, but you're the one doing it. Stop doing it and it wouldn't be wrong.
Yeah, it's not dissimilar from the leaders, the good and bad leaders that we remember, right? You
Sure.
can. There's people that if you got somebody as your platoon sergeant or as your squad leader, you're like, this is fucking awesome. This is the best possible thing. I'm so confident in this guy. I know that he gives a shit about us. I know that he would die sooner than to leave us hanging or let us down. That is a tremendous feeling that, we've both felt. And conversely, we also know that there's some people that, whatever it doesn't make them terrible human beings, but power is in position. Like, remember, the leadership by fear versus leadership by respect is always something that I go back to. Like, the Marine Corps is always a lot of leadership by fear, because it's like, I'm stronger, I'm bigger, I'm more experienced or whatever than you, so I'm in charge. Shut the fuck up, do what you're told. That'll work for a while, but somebody who respects and takes care of their Marines, looks after them, has their best interest in mind, always, vouches for them. Those people, to me, that's the type of guy that I wanted to be.
But
Um,
and just like you're saying, like with Ford, with me, our old local union president, bigger guy, longer hair, biker. Well, I don't want to say biker in that term, but rode motorcycles, got everything done. But the nowadays, oh well, you don't look the part of the word union president, so they voted him out. Then the newer, prettier H or what is it? H&M dress, H&M clothing.
yeah,
Rique Suave guy came in, but kept going back to the former president to ask him how to do this, how to do that. Well, why did we vote him out if this guy worked just because he wasn't TV friendly appearance, you know?
yeah. Oh, there's a lot of that.
If it works, don't change it. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
I don't care if he looks like here, if you ever have Kramer on, I think he might have been gone before you got there.
I
But
remember.
Sergeant Mackey was in third platoon. Grungy as fuck, but knew everything. Wouldn't promote him to staff sergeant because you're too dirty, you this, you're that. He knew everything just like Kramer. Taught Kramer half the shit he knows, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Didn't look the part of a staff sergeant. What does a staff sergeant look like?
yeah. Well, see,
I
that's
mean,
the thing. I imagine some of this boils down to, like, peacetime versus wartime. Like, the same thing can be said, I think, about Forsman. He came to us. He's one of the first people that I interviewed because he was my platoon sergeant. He's got
yeah,
tremendous stories, tremendous character. But he was not politically correct, right? He was very rough around the edges, but he knew his shit, and he took care of us, and he was funny as shit. And you know but he's another example of, there's a lot of good Marines like that they could
I mean, and if you just like that, if you looked at our whole company as a whole, or even looked at your platoon versus my platoon, or first platoon, or I don't care, you could even add weapons. There was more good Marines than bad. There was more good Marines than great Marines. But the great Marines made us all better. But the bad Marines didn't make us bad. We made the bad Marines good, and the great ones just made us better. No
Yeah.
matter who we were as a group, we functioned as a group. What
Yeah.
we did on the weekend was what we did. Whether it was you and I going out to Onslow Beach or whatever and sitting there watching the sunset or whatever, or drinking a beer,
Yeah.
But when Monday morning came around, we functioned as a group.
Yeah. I think that that's part of a problem, like with us, with America, though, is that we are not, there's nothing that, I mean, there's a lot that unites us, but it seems like people are more focused on the things that divide us. Like if we have, if we had somebody, or if all the politicians decided that they were going to say, you know what, fuck this party bullshit, fuck the infighting. Obviously, it's not effective as a strategy. From where I'm standing, because like I'm saying, I'm about ready not to fucking cast my vote because I don't like the shit talking. I don't like the maneuvering. I don't like the news, that we're constantly being bombarded with. I'm sitting, walking on the treadmill at Planet Fitness. I got fucking CNN versus Fox News saying the exact opposite things, and it's just the joke is on us. So like
And
political,
that's what's killing us is TV, because just like with the Gulf War, how is CNN there before we landed?
yeah,
Back in like when we were younger, we never seen anything on TV about all the politicians fighting and all that, because it
yeah.
was all behind closed doors, so it didn't get to us, so we didn't have an opinion.
And they should, you know what, they should protect. It's like a bunch of staff NCOs. If you guys are gonna disagree, if all the upper echelon people in the chain of command, if they're gonna have a pissing contest and call each other names, that can happen behind closed doors. And then when they decide what kind of plan they're gonna put together, when they walk out the fucking door, they're gonna tell us, hey, this is the guys in the squads and the platoon overall as a whole. This is the company as a whole. This is what we got to do, and this is what we're going to unified front. Even if they don't agree, they should fucking spare us from all the bullshit drama and say, hey, motherfuckers, this is what we're going to do. Why am I compromising? Because we need to come together and we need to come up with a uniform, plan as to how we're going to run this country. But that's the thing. If you have a conversation with somebody like this, we can talk about stuff like this, and we're not going to disagree. We're all on the same sheet of music for the most part, even if
But
we might.
even if we did disagree, we can agree to disagree, and we find a common point, and we're good with it.
Yeah,
It's not like after we're done with this, I'm gonna turn around and be like, "Oh, be that motherfucker." I mean, I can't believe he said that.
yeah,
Because if I didn't want to do this or you didn't want to do that, we wouldn't have reached out to each other to begin with.
yeah. Still, we have a unique a bond. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think that the civilian sectors, it's messy. It's people do
But
what they want. We've got more. I love our freedoms, but sometimes I feel like we have so many freedoms we don't know what to fucking do with them. It's like we're bored out of our minds, so we're
yeah,
just
but
find something.
even at that, and not getting political, but if you want to be in a political party, you have a bond because you want to be in a political party. You should have to go in with some kind of mindset that I have to agree with something instead of just being this way to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, just like with us, like we keep saying, or you keep saying with your podcast, we were all walks of life that came together. If the military could do it, why can't politicians and everybody else do it?
Yeah.
I mean, if you put, just look at this. If you put all walks of life together in the military and we protect this country, how can't politicians that don't protect this country provide for this country?
Well, see, that's just it, man. That's why I asked everyone all the Marines and former servicemen that I'm interviewing, would they do it again? Because I feel like kind of we were young, dumb, and full of cum. Like we had all had our reasons to join, and service and patriotism were at the forefront. Mom, apple pie, all that shit, God, country, core. But I feel like maybe in the background we heard Clinton or whoever battling it out with whoever the hell his opposition was, and sometimes you got to talk things out, and things will get heated in order before you come up with whatever. And of course, everybody wants to take down the whoever is in charge. They want to question their whatever. And you can question authority, but I don't know. I guess I'm wondering, like, I find it so disrespectful that there are men and women out there that have signed their lives away to protect and defend this country up to the point that they could lose their lives or limbs. And these assholes they're just spitting all over that. To me, they're shitting all over, the people that, like, why am I out here? If I was out walking a post, I'd be like, you motherfuckers, why am I out here with a rifle in a fucking listening post in the rain? Why did I sign up for this? So you guys could bicker among yourselves about stupid shit, or worse yet, send us off to do some bullshit mission. You know what I mean? Like the best thing that I saw recently in terms of politicians was when Mattis was involved. I felt great when General Mattis was the Secretary of Defense or whatever. Just a reasonable guy, just a warrior. But they call him the warrior poet or something like that because he was thoughtful too. Because he had done this type of work, he knew, wow, I'm not going to put my guys in harm's way for some bullshit, or I'm not going to restrict their ROEs or something like that. Like somebody who knows,
Oh, it's just like Biden. I mean, every day is a different story with him. My thing is, you could ask me 10 years from now and it'll be the same thing. Not 2 days from now and it's going to be something different.
Yeah. That's part of
their
makeup, though. That's part of their makeup. They're used to. I mean, he's old, and obviously he's got to go. But
then again, like with Trump, I mean, oh, I'm president. I can't. I'm higher than you. Ain't higher than any. We're all human. I mean, my thing, like I said, if they can't get along with each other, they shouldn't be there. It's just so funny. And like I said in the beginning, the thing is bringing this country down is the people. I mean, it sucks because people made me hate people. I used to be a people person, and people fucked that up.
Yeah, I get like that myself. But I'm coming around. Like I feel like, because like I can say I hate people, but that means I hate you. That means, like, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, I run into sometimes people will, like, as a, doing my chiropractic thing, I have 99% of the patients coming through on a busy day are wonderful, appreciative. And then there's one turd who's going to, I don't know, just be obnoxious or come in late or not show, or I can't let that piss ruin it for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, see,
So
before I worked for Ford, I worked for a trash service, but I picked up 1,600 customers a day.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the same thing. I mean, I did my job. I knew all the children on my route. So if I seen them out of the area, I could let their parents know. But then at the end of the day, I got that one phone call. I got called over the radio. Oh, well, you missed Mr. Smith at this address.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't miss him. His stuff wasn't out. And I'd go on a computer because I had everything, all my addresses and that. I'm like, I was there at say 8:37. His wasn't out.
Right.
Oh no, his was out at that time. You missed it. Out of 1,600 people, I missed one,
Yeah.
and it's showing on my computer that it wasn't out, but it was out.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. I mean, and I say I hate people because people ruined it. And it's not the word. I mean, yeah, the word hate is a strong word, but the word hate is just a general word. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just like me at work. I could get in trouble for, if you want to use sexual harassment, because being now the older group of people, I address people like women as sweetheart, baby, stuff like that. But it's the ones that I know that aren't going to turn me in for sexual harassment, you know? You
Yeah.
got to pick and choose. So, yes, hate is a strong word, but if someone's going to turn me in for sexual harassment because they're having a bad day, or it's not like I'm going up and slapping all the women on their ass and saying, hey, what's going on, baby?
Right.
It's just, how are you doing today, sweetheart?
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
or they turn around and be like, good morning, hun. And I'm like, morning, sweetheart, you know? Do
Yeah.
I'm in for sexual harassment? It's just the way I was brought up, you know?
Oh yeah.
I'm not addressing everybody as Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith. I mean, somebody says, "Excuse me, sir." I look for my dad. I don't call me sir. I'm still a kid, you know?
Right.
And that's the way I am. I'm going to be a kid for life. I may have 5 knee surgeries and be using a cane in a couple of years, but I'm still a kid.
Yeah. You got to keep that mindset. I think that the we got to continue playing. I do think about that a lot as well. Like you have to you have to continue to be interested in things and find the humor in life, and um, and occupy your time in some meaningful way. So
Other week, I was on the running, or I can't say running, but crawling around on the floor with my grandkids and playing dinosaur.
yeah.
Turned to chase my grandson, my oldest grandson, Trenton. Smacked my head off the doorknob, and now he's like, and funny, I mean, kids are a lot more advanced than we are.
Yeah.
So he's 6 years old, but he turns around and I got blood dripping down my forehead. He's like, "You better watch out, Papa. You may become extinct." I'm like, he's like, "Well, you know that thing on your head and it's bleeding, and you may become extinct." I'm like, "I'm not gonna die from that. The dinosaurs did." I'm like, "They didn't die from that, honey." I'm just like, 6 years old. I didn't even know the word extinct at 6 years. Not that I remember, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just. But and that all comes from what I'm talking on now, a cell phone, you know.
Yeah.
And he watches YouTube Kids, but he calls it TuYube.
To you.
Yeah, but I mean it helped, but it also hurts. I mean, the internet was invented to help, but bullying over the web, I mean, it's not needed. That's
No. No.
half the reason why I don't do Facebook or anything like that, because somebody's going to say something. I'm going to say something back. Someone's going to get pissed off. Then I'm going to have to drive to wherever they are just to beat their ass to lose another fight.
Hey, man, the only thing is, this shit ain't going away. You know, the technology is only going to get more ubiquitous. So,
Exactly. But if I could keep myself out of it and stay relaxed a little bit
yeah,
and some gold or something, and
yeah.
I'll let the new generation worry about all this bull crap.
Oh, let's freaking mine for some gold, bro. I love it. I'm excited to do that shit. You're inspired me. So, yeah. Well, man, let me tell you something, brother. I appreciate you. You are definitely you fit the definition of our authentic, the personnel we're trying to seek and hear their stories. There, you're a real dude, and I appreciate the tour and all the show and tell you did, and I wish you the very best. Say hi to those grandkids for me. Have a safe trip, and collect your
Thank you.
winnings. Collect your winnings, and fucking. And I'll talk to you again soon.
I'll talk to you again soon. Be good and tell everybody else I said peace. And like I said, anytime anybody needs a bed that they're in Kansas City or Independence, give me a call or text or get a hold of Shannon.
Yeah, definitely. Good old Shan. All right, bro. Have a great day. Nice talking to you.
Be safe. Love.